You're safe, nothing's wrong. And yet, something inside feels off. Like you're wandering through life with no real compass. Like you're surrounded by people, but no one really knows you. Like your days are full, but your soul feels hollow. And the weirdest part, you can't explain why. Because on paper, everything looks fine. But what if I told you? The reason you feel lost has nothing to do with what's happening around you, and everything to do with what's been happening within you. You know what's confusing? When everything in your life is in place, but something in your chest feels out of place. You've got a roof over your head. People might even say you're doing well, but deep inside, it's like you're drifting. You can't explain it to anyone. Not because you don't want to, but because you don't even understand it yourself. Feeling lost doesn't always come from chaos outside. Sometimes it's the result of structure without soul. A life that looks good from a distance but lacks depth up close. We grow up being taught how to fit in, how to function. You go to school, you learn how to answer questions. But no one teaches you how to ask the ones that really matter. Like, why am I really here? What actually fulfills me? Who am I when I'm not performing? Instead of purpose, we get routines. Instead of depth, we get distractions. So even when everything seems fine, your inner world starts echoing with this quiet ache. And here's something interesting. Some people mistake that ache for laziness or ungratefulness. But it's not. That ache is intelligence. It's the soul's way of saying, I'm not lost. I've just been walking a path that was never mine. The reason you feel disconnected isn't because you're broken. It's because the world never gave you space to discover yourself. It only gave you systems to follow, never meaning to feel. So maybe feeling lost is actually the beginning of waking up. Not a failure, but a signal. You've been handed a map since the day you were born. Not a physical one, but a mental one. One that told you where happiness is, where success lives, where safety hides. It told you to study hard, get good grades, build a career, find a partner, settle down, maybe even meditate on weekends to feel balanced. That map, it looks convincing. The lines are clean. The directions are clear. Everyone around you is holding the same one, so it must be right. But here's the catch. The map is not the territory. That's what the Polish philosopher Alfred Korzybski taught. He said that the symbols and labels we use to understand reality are not reality itself. A menu isn't food. A weather app isn't the sky. A job title isn't purpose. A relationship isn't love. And a life that follows the map isn't necessarily a life that feels alive. That's why people feel lost, not because they're in the wrong place, but because they never truly looked up from the map to explore the land beneath their feet. They followed instructions. They walked the expected path. But they never stopped to ask, is this even my path? Or am I just afraid of getting lost, so I cling to the script? What's worse is that this map comes with rules that punish curiosity. You're told to be grateful because others have it worse. You're told to keep moving because you're doing so well. But your soul doesn't care about how clean the map looks. It only asks one thing. Are we home yet? And often the answer is no, because your soul doesn't want what the map promised. It wants what the land can offer. Presence, meaning, wonder, freedom. And those things don't live in symbols or routes. They live in moments you were too distracted to notice. So now, here's the deeper question. What if feeling lost is the beginning of something sacred? What if that sensation isn't a warning sign, but a signal that you're finally stepping off the map? Because you can't discover your truth if you only follow the trail everyone else marked. And in that silence, without a route to cling to, something strange starts to happen. You notice the wind again. The colors in your day feel brighter. The questions become more interesting than the answers. And for once, you stop running toward the next step and realize there's nowhere else to be but here. You were never lost. You just needed to stop pretending you knew where you were going. There's a strange thing that happens in our minds. We grow attached to what we build, even if what we've built is the very thing that keeps us stuck. Psychologists call this the IKEA effect. It's when people value something more simply because they put effort into creating it. And suddenly it feels priceless, not because it's better, but because you made it. The same thing happens with our lives, with our identities, with our beliefs. You spend years constructing a version of yourself. You work hard to hold it together, the routines, the opinions, the people you surround yourself with. And even when it starts to feel wrong, even when it stops feeling like you still hold on. Not because it makes you happy, but because you built it, you suffered for it. And in your mind, letting go would feel like throwing all that effort away. But here's the truth nobody tells you. Effort doesn't equal alignment. Just because you worked hard to become someone doesn't mean that version of you is still serving your growth. Now here's where it gets deeper. There's a phenomenon called phantom limb syndrome, when someone loses a limb but still feels it. They can feel pain in a hand that's no longer there. They might try to open a door with an arm that doesn't exist anymore. Why? Because the brain doesn't easily update its idea of what's real. It keeps holding on to the old version. We do this with emotions, with relationships, with identities. Even after you've outgrown a belief, you still feel its grip. Even after you leave behind an old version of yourself, some part of you keeps acting like it's still there, still relevant, still true. That's why transformation feels so disorienting. Because you're not just releasing a behavior, you're grieving an identity. You're letting go of the phantom version of yourself that your mind still insists is alive. So here's the uncomfortable truth. You might be clinging to a life that no longer fits you, not because it's good for you, but because you built it, and your mind is scared to let it go. But what if you could thank that version of you for getting you this far, and then gently set it down? What if you could look at your thoughts and say, I know why you're still here. I know why you're hurting. But we're not going back. You're not broken. You're just finally realizing that some parts of you were built for a reality that no longer exists. And letting go of them? That's not failure. That's evolution. There's a moment in everyone's life when they sit alone, everything seems fine, but deep down, something's off. You can't explain it to anyone. You've got a roof over your head. You're not starving. You're not in danger, but still, there's that quiet feeling in your chest that something's missing. And that's where most people stop. They pretend it's just a phase. But if you sit with it, really sit with it, you'll realize something. The version of you that feels lost was never meant to guide you in the first place. Because the one who's lost is the one who was built to survive. The one who learned how to follow rules, make others proud, fit in, blend in, get by. And now that you're finally in a space where your survival is no longer the focus, your soul is waking up. That ache, that quiet, painful fog, it's not depression. It's the friction between who you've become and who you're meant to be. You were trained to chase stability, but now you're craving alignment. You were taught to follow the path, but now you feel pulled towards something unknown. And yes, that road will feel strange. Because it won't come with a map, and no one's going to validate it for you. But this part of your life, it's not supposed to feel comfortable. It's supposed to feel real. So the next time you feel lost when everything should feel okay, don't shame yourself. Don't distract yourself. Just listen. Because maybe you're not lost. Maybe for the first time, you've stepped off the path they gave you. And now you're finally starting to walk your own.